April 16th, 2015. From El Cajon, California, this is episode 70 of You Can Bet On That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet On That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. My name is Mark Duvall, and sitting next to me is Dr. Mike.
Hello.
On our last episode, we talked a lot about W-2Gs, the tax form that you get when you hit a jackpot at the casino and what have you. And
this being April 15th, you thought taxes
that's
would be
right. We're actually recording this on tax day. Yeah, exactly. And, we kind of talked about, when does the casino actually withhold the money right away? And when don't they? And we were speculating, gosh, when we won our fire bet for $10,000, could we have just asked up front that they not withhold anything? And
right.
So we talked quite a bit about this. Well, the contributors over at the Slots Fanatics Forum took us to task for basically everything we said, saying these guys don't know what they're talking about.
Okay, and that's probably true.
Yeah, right. So I got on the forum and kind of went back and forth with them a little bit. And after kind of discussing with them, I thought, why don't I go to the IRS website and read the instructions for the W-2Gs, which I probably should have done to start with.
Right. But you didn't have 10 hours of free time.
Right. I didn't want to torture myself. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but I finally did this. I read through the whole thing, and yes, it was very wordy, but I got down to the crux of what we really wanted to say.
Okay. So we'll get this all cleared up.
Yes.
And we'll never speak of the IRS again.
Well, I don't know about that.
Okay.
But here's what it comes down to. One of the reasons I think we were confused is because we didn't realize there's a significant difference between a slot win and a table game win that requires the W-2G filing, right?
However stupid that may be.
Right. So here's what it comes down to. First, we'll talk about slots, just slots and video poker. You get a W-2G on slots or video poker anytime you have a payout of $1,200 or more, regardless of the size of your original wager. Okay. We had always thought, it's got to be 300 to 1. Right, to get a W-2G. But in the case of slots and video poker,
it's just a flat $1,200.
$1,200. Right, exactly. So if you're on some slot machine where, let's say, it's $2,000 a pull, as an extreme example, right? And you just get your money back, $2,000, that's a W-2G.
Wow.
Right?
So yeah, if you're playing like a video poker machine where you could be putting in more than $1,200 a pull.
Right.
Right. It could be $500 a line or something,
right.
Or say $100 a line.
Yeah.
You're going to get a W-2G every time you get a pair.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. But I mean, that's an extreme example. But seriously, if you're playing some kind of $25 video poker machine, which is $125 a pull,
right.
You're going to be hitting $1,200 quite a bit, right? So you're going to be getting quite a few W-2Gs, right? So you're going to get that. Okay. On a slot or video poker win of $1,200 or more, if you provide a tax identification number, which for most people is their Social Security number, right? They won't withhold anything. The casino won't withhold anything, regardless of how much the payout is.
How do they verify that?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, they say, okay, here, give me your Social Security number, your tax ID number. I could write any number down I want.
Yeah,
right?
That's a good question. Well, I mean, they need some kind of form of ID, like your driver license, that kind of thing. So
I guess they'd have to get and then make sure it's correct.
Yeah, I mean, that is a good point. I mean, there are probably, ways that you could lie and put down the wrong Social Security number. Because
I have a tax ID number.
Right. That's separate from your Social Security
number. And I could just, change one number and it'd be off.
Right. That's true. Well, I don't know. I mean, that's fraud and, who knows.
Married. Okay.
If you don't provide a TIN, tax identification number, then they will withhold 28%.
Okay.
So this is slots. We've gotten through slots, right? You're going to get a W-2G, $1,200 or more, and they won't withhold anything as long as you give them a TIN.
So on those high limit machines, does the machine automatically stop when you hit something over $1,200 and has to be a hand payout?
Yes.
Good. So then you could be getting, someone would have to sit there and watch you play.
No. It'll stop and say, hand pay required.
Right.
And then they'll come around.
Yeah. But I mean, if you're on a high limit machine and you hit enough full houses. And,
oh, yeah. I mean, there'd probably be somebody just standing there waiting.
Right,
just
waiting.
With another form. Yeah, here we go again. Yeah,
have it all pre-filled out.
Yep, exactly. Okay, now, table games is different. Okay. You will only get a W2G on a table game if your win is over $5,000 and is at least 300 times your original wager.
Has to meet both of those qualifications.
Both of those over 5,000.
Right.
And at least 300 times your original wager.
Okay.
Okay. So the only times that's going to happen at a table game is when you're making one of those side bets, basically, right?
Because if you're just betting $5,000 on like a 9,
or say $10,000,
right, 10,000 or something, and you get paid out higher than 5,000, it's still not a bet that's 300 times your original
right,
bet.
Exactly. A blackjack wager for $20,000, whatever, right? That doesn't happen.
That doesn't happen.
It's only on basically those side bets that are, 300 times or more your bet. Right. Like a fire bet, like some side bets that you'll see at, the blackjack table or like at poker-based
carnival games.
Right, carnival games where you make a straight flush or something like that. Exactly. Right. Okay. You'll get a W2G. And they will automatically withhold 25%, whether you've got an ID or not, a TIN or not.
So 25, but not 28 like the slot machine, 25.
Well, 28 is when you haven't provided the ID.
Right. But if you hadn't provided the ID either place, one's 28, one's 25.
Well, yeah. I mean, you'd have to read through the instructions. It's a little more clear. Unbelievably, if you actually read the W2G instructions from the IRS. Okay. But yes, so any W2G basically that you get at a table game, they're withholding 25%.
Okay.
All right.
Good. So we had
that's
no
over
choice.
5,000. Yeah. So we had no choice when we won the 10,000. Now, if we had only won 5,000 exactly, then there'd be no W2G, and they just
give you your money.
Right. And that apparently is what happens at Harrah's Rincon, where we usually go, because the maximum you can bet on that fire bet is $5.
Yeah, so the most you're going to win is 5,000.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So there you go. So I think we've got that clear.
So I wonder who came up with these
rules. Yeah, who knows? Hey, there's more. I'm not telling you about there are different rules for Keno.
Oh, really?
Right? There's a different amount.
Keno slot Keno or Keno live Keno?
Oh, Keno live Keno, I would imagine. Keno. That's a good point. I'm pretty sure that Keno, the machines would be considered a slot, but that's a good question.
But live Keno is different.
Live Keno is,
well, since there is no more live Keno, I guess we don't have to worry about that.
Oh, that's right. We'll talk about that in a little bit, in an upcoming segment of the show. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So anyway, they also, over at the Slots Fanatics forum, they also were really questioning the story you told about your brother at Harrah's Kansas City that we talked about last episode, where basically they were giving him $1,199 multiple times to seemingly prevent him having to get a W2G. Yeah.
Well, and I questioned it too.
Yeah.
But my brother swears that's what happened to him. Now, whether that lady was doing something wrong, which could very well be the case.
Yeah.
Or didn't know, or, was confused. Because we've certainly ran into people at casinos who are confused.
Sure.
Right? I mean, look at our roulette story from a few episodes back,
right? Exactly, yeah.
Where one person tells you one thing and the next person tells you the exact opposite.
Yes.
And then the first person recants and goes back to, oh no, it's, So who knows what was going on there? That's just what he told me.
All right. And
we'll have to talk to him personally and get the whole
we'll record kind of an interview with him. I was just going to have him call in, but I actually want to kind of go back and forth and ask him some questions.
Out about that.
Now, you claim that, you basically retold the story exactly as he
I did. I mean, I told you what he told me on the phone.
Yeah.
So we'll have to go over it with him and get it blow by blow.
We'll do that on a
and it still may not be clear.
It may not be. Right. We'll do that on an upcoming episode.
Evidently, the person who wrote all this tax code for IRS payouts and declarations and stuff like that is the same person who created the trillions of dollars of deficit that we have.
Let's hope they lower the amount to $600, like we said the IRS wanted to do. That'll help quite a bit.
Oh, that'll help a lot. Every person will have their own attendant at their slot machine.
All right, now to top it all off, listener Doug, who was actually the one who originally posted to Slot Fanatics and pointed us to the thread there, he said that on episode 43, when we were talking about Ultimate Texas Hold'em, that we had messed up the instructions. He didn't say specifically what happened, but I went back and listened to that episode. And We did mess it up, or I did. I was the one explaining it. You weren't really familiar with the rules. But as I'm listening to it again, I'm thinking, well, this sounds okay so far. And it's like, oh. So at least one thing that was wrong. We had said that in Ultimate Texas Hold'em, the table game, when the dealer doesn't qualify, the ante is a push. That was correct.
Right.
But then I went on to say that when the dealer doesn't qualify, the play and the blind bets win automatically. And that is not correct.
They lose if the dealer beats you.
Yeah, you do compare hands. So if the dealer beats you, the play and the blinds lose. And if you beat him, then they win.
Almost a slip of the tongue. I mean, you probably were going fast, but it is wrong.
I was going fast, and you were asking questions, but I said it a couple of times.
Oh, okay.
That was definitely a mistake.
I'll have to go back and listen to that.
Yeah,
but that's good that he called us on it because, you know, we don't want misinformation.
That's right. So, I mean, obviously, we get stuff wrong. Sometimes it is a slip of the tongue, and I will catch it in editing.
Right.
Other times, we think we know what's true, and it's absolutely not.
And it may not be, yeah. But that's more likely to happen with me.
Absolutely.
Than you.
It's true. I didn't want to say that, but now that you're offering that,
that's absolutely true, because I really don't care. Seriously. I mean, that's the bottom line.
You're actually thinking, Mark will take care of this.
Yeah, he'll handle that. I don't care.
Just suddenly your voice will change. It's like, I was at Caesar's Palace, and we were. Sometimes you do make a mistake, and I just let it go because it's not that relevant to the story.
Right. Yeah. Well, that happens a lot with me.
Anyway, let us know when we've made a mistake. We do want to be corrected, and obviously we're human, so let us know. All right. How much time have we spent talking about just our screw-ups so far in this show?
Well, we could spend the whole show, but let's go on to something else.
All right. Let's move on to something else. And this is kind of a screw-up, too. So this is kind of a funny story. The D Casino in Las Vegas, they came up with this promotion for tax day. Again, we're recording on tax day, April 15th. And this sounded like a pretty good deal. Let me read to you at least a little bit of the flyer that they originally sent out for this. Hit a taxable slot or video poker jackpot on any house game, April 15th, 2015, and the D Las Vegas will pay your jackpot taxes in free slot play. It goes on to say taxable jackpots are defined as any hand-paid jackpot or $1,200 or greater, like we discussed.
Yeah, now we're back to the tax thing.
Right? So then they say free slot pay is paid at 28% of the jackpot. So in other words, when you hit that jackpot of $1,200 or more, they're going to give you 28% of that in slot play.
So they're going to give you free play.
Right, free play. But, if you go and you play a video poker machine that's, 99%,
right.
Figure
hopefully
it works out to about 25%, right?
Right.
Something like that. Okay. So start to think about this. And it's like, you're getting back 28% on a jackpot? Is this like too good to be true? I'm thinking that advantage players might have descended on the D in droves to take advantage of this very attractive offer.
Yeah, because because it says players responsible for actual jackpot taxes.
Right, yeah.
To the IRS.
Yes.
But you're probably writing that off from your losses.
It could be. But my point is that 28%, that's a pretty good kickback for these.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking again that advantage players.
Well, that's what you'd have to pay, 28%.
Well, ultimately,
to the IRS.
Well, no, it depends on your tax bracket.
Right.
It depends on a lot of things.
Right. But supposedly they're going to tax it at 28%.
Right.
So, I mean, you might not necessarily have to pay that because you have other deductions. You might not have to pay anything.
Yes. But Dr. Mike, please let me continue.
Okay.
Because that's not the point. The point is this offer was too good to be true. Okay. Because Subway Mike on Twitter posted a picture that he saw at the D that they had just slapped up on some of their slot machines, and it said, the tax day promotion is canceled as of 6 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time on April 15th, 2015.
So the people who got there at midnight to 6 a.m.
probably were to take advantage of this. And then the D realized, wait a minute, we're losing buku money. Because, you go to like a high-limit table, a high-limit slot. Right. And you're getting tons of these $1,200 or more payouts and W2Gs, but you're getting 28% in free play. I think they figured that, this was too. And, in their promotion, they actually said the D Las Vegas reserves all rights to modify or cancel this promotion at any time. So
that's always going to be in every
that's
promotion.
Always going to be in. I think this was one that they thought, we probably shouldn't have done
think about that. Just a $1,200 win, 28% back. So what are we looking at, Mark? What's the number?
So 28% of 1,200 is $336.
So you get 336 free play.
Right.
You hit like 5 of those, you've got $1,600 of free play.
Yeah, exactly.
Boy, that might be a whole nother play. Put that in, you might be a whole nother jackpot,
I think
right?
that they probably saw how much they were giving out very quickly and said, "Ooh, we need to stop this before, the general public comes in."
Yeah, every high limit machine was probably taken up.
I imagine so. Yeah. So that's probably what happened. But anyway, so thought that was kind of interesting that this just happened today. And thanks for Subway Mike on Twitter for posting the picture that they'd canceled it. All right, let's go on to talk about Revel. And I want to talk about it briefly. And I don't want to talk about it again until and if it reopens.
Okay.
All right. So on April 7th, the Florida developer Glenn Straub, he was able to buy the Revel, which was built for $2.4 billion in Atlantic City. He was able to buy it for $82 million.
Right.
Which is what? 4 cents on the dollar, something like that. Okay. He bought this on April 7th. 2 days later, he lost his certificate of occupancy, and ACR Energy, the company that supplied energy to the property, they cut off power.
Didn't they have their own power company?
Again, remember there was we had this whole big discussion about having their own power plant, and I don't know. I'm not even going to pretend to know to tell you I know everything because I just want to get through this. Okay. The only reason we're talking about it is because we've talked about it in the past, but this is going to be the last time we talk about it till it reopens.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. So starting with when the power was cut off, Straub started being fined $5,000 a day by the city because it's a fire hazard, right? All their, electric, everything is.
Right.
So he's trying to negotiate with ACR. Meanwhile, he's brought in these mobile generators to restore power to the casino. And this happened, I think, yesterday. So by the time people hear this, there's probably going to be more to the story.
Right.
But that's kind of where we've left off. And he's.
I don't get this. Why do you need power to the casino?
Well, to the building. Again, because it's a fire hazard if it doesn't have power on it, right? So that's why it has to be there. So he's being fined by the city $5,000 a day. He doesn't want to pay that.
Right.
He's trying to negotiate power. He's bringing in portable generators. I can't imagine what those would be like.
The city should have just fined him $2.4 billion and then just taken over the property.
All right. Who knows what the future holds for Revel, but this is the last that we're going to talk about.
I hope one day it's just going to be a big implosion and it's going to make all the news channels.
Oh my gosh. It was a disaster there. Hey, one more little bit of news. This is actually pretty good news. The Downtown Grand said they made an announcement that they are going to be offering $3 craps and blackjack from 3 a.m. to 11 a.m. every Monday through Friday. Now, so those are the off hours, but that's great for low rollers.
It is. I got that flyer in the mail.
You did?
In
okay.
My house. Yeah, a big flyer. The only thing I have about that, it doesn't say on the flyer, and you didn't mention it here, how many tables are going to be?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. Yeah.
One craps table, I'm sure.
Yeah, right.
But, how many blackjack tables are going to be $3?
Yeah, that's good. It didn't say that. And I've got another question, too. On the flyer that I saw, where they were advertising, $3 blackjack, they were showing a war blackjack table that said it pays 3 to 2. Okay. Now, I'd like to know for sure, hey, are your $3 tables really paying 3 to 2? That's a good question. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah.
But this is great because the only other place you can really find $3 craps downtown is at the Fremont, and they only have double odds.
Right.
And Downtown Grand has 10 times odds.
Right,
I assume it'll be the same, even
yeah,
for the $3
don't assume
craps.
that.
No, well, again, yeah. If anybody goes and plays this, let us know. But, it's off hours. It's only Monday through Friday, but that is good news.
Well, it is good because, say you get up Monday morning, if you had a weekend trip and you stayed Monday, you could get up at, 8 a.m. and still have 3 hours to play craps cheaply.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, go to our page first, youcanbetonthat.com, and click through our Amazon link at the top of the page. That way, when you make a purchase, we get a little kickback that helps cover the costs of hosting the show, and it doesn't cost you a thing. You'll pay the same price just like normal. Hey, on the last episode, Dr. Mike, you were talking about how angry you were when a dealer pretty much took advantage of your friend at the craps table by making a bet for himself. The dealer made a bet for himself using your friend's money and didn't really make it clear.
No. He was taking advantage of a first-time player.
Yeah, he knew your friend was a novice and just went ahead and made the bet. And it was only $1, but really, it's pretty crummy. Right?
Yeah.
So, listener to the show, Jim, our good friend that we met in Atlantic City, he told a story of something that happened to him at Paris, Las Vegas. And this is remarkable, I think. I was playing craps at Paris, Las Vegas during a February trip, and when I was done playing, I had exactly $1,000 to color up. So he had exactly $1,000 in greens and blacks and reds. Okay. So they colored him up, and here's what they gave him. And, typically you're going to get like 2 500s or in some cases $1,000 chip, right? So that's what they do. But here's what they gave him. 9 blacks, 2 greens, 9 reds. So that's $45 in reds and 5 whites.
And whites. I have never in my life.
No.
Now, I'm almost 56 years old.
No, you're not that old.
Yeah, I will be 56 for my next birthday.
You're way older than I am. I had no idea.
But I have never, in the 36 years or so I've been playing craps, seen anything colored up like that.
No. And
colored up.
Yeah, colored up. And Jim even said that he was making a $1 pass line bet for them every hand.
So he's already been betting for him, and they want to give him some small chips so they can get a tip.
Exactly. Yeah.
I would have looked at the dealer seriously and said, "Oh, you misunderstood. I'm not buying in. I'm coloring up. Go to hell and give me my chip."
Oh, man. I couldn't believe it when I heard this story.
Oh, it's terrible.
Never seen that
It is terrible.
Yeah, it is.
That is the worst I've ever heard.
Yeah, for hustling.
I mean, that's the kind of, if you gave them $1,000 chip or 10 $100 bills and you were buying in, this is what you would expect to get in chips.
Sure, that's reasonable. They might even give you some singles.
Before.
Sure, that's fine.
Maybe a few more greens.
Yeah.
But, I've gotten that before.
Yeah.
But to color up and give you that?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
At a Caesar's property.
At a Caesar's property, Paris, Las Vegas, he said. We haven't played craps at Paris for some time, and who knows how rampant this is, but yeah, that's awful.
Yeah, well, he wrote, "Go F blank yourselves."
Mm-hmm, yeah, and, exactly. I know. It's terrible.
That is terrible.
Yeah. In the same email, Jim mentioned that the Keno Lounge at Harrah's Atlantic City that we went to a couple of years ago, completely closed. He actually sent us a picture of it's just stripped. It's just a bare area.
They didn't even put the slot machines in there.
Well, at least not yet. I'm sure that's what's going in eventually, but it's gone.
I saw that picture. My eyes got teary.
That's too bad.
Yeah. I mean, that was my favorite Keno Lounge of all. It's because it didn't have any literature or anything to bug me. It was just pure and simple Keno.
That's right. Longtime listeners might remember that I went to that lounge and I said, "Yeah, do you have any brochures, that show the payouts and everything?" And she's looking around and brings out this ratty old one and gives it to me. Yeah, and we're going to need that back.
It's the only one they had.
Oh my God.
Jim told us later they printed up some more.
But I guess that wasn't good enough to
keep the Keno Lounge open. Yeah, you don't see it anymore, and it's sad, but I do see a lot of people playing Keno on machines.
Yes.
Because my dad and brother and mom will do a lot of like penny machines. They like those penny machines, play the max on a penny machine.
Yeah.
And I'll stand there and watch him and I'll see the person next to him playing Keno.
Yeah.
So it's still very popular, I think, the game.
The game, right.
It's just they want to play it quickly on a machine. And I can understand that because there's no waiting.
Right.
Right. You boom, you get a result, and then boom, you pick some more numbers, you get a result.
Right. Because sitting in a Keno Lounge, that's kind of depressing.
Yeah, it is.
What we want is restaurant Keno.
Restaurant Keno.
We talked about last
restaurant
time.
Keno they should have.
Yes.
And because you need something to do while you're in the restaurant.
Right. Because as we've said, the worst thing you could do is talk to each other at the table.
Right.
Yeah.
We have cell phones for that.
Exactly. Right.
We need to communicate.
If I'm texting Mike, what numbers are you taking on Keno? All right. Hey, we got another email from Jordan. He tells another story too that is kind of interesting. We'll see what we have to say about this. I was recently at the Hard Rock Casino in Lake Tahoe at a $10 table, and I said to the dealer, "I'll take a $20 no 4," and handed him $21 because they collect the VIG up front. I was very specific with the no 4 and was glad I specified because the very next roll was a 7 out. The dealer scooped up all my bets, including the no 4. I said, "Wait a sec, that was a no 4. Even the stick man next to me said, yeah, he clearly had heard that it was a no 4. There wasn't much discussion. They were cool returning me my $30, the $20 original bet, and then the $10 win. The dealer that was taking my bets then told me, in the future, it's called a lay bet, and the minimum bet is $40. So let's address that first one. In the future, it's called a lay bet. When you hear somebody make a bet against the 4, what do you hear?
You almost always hear no 4.
Yeah, almost always.
No 4, no 10.
Yeah.
Now, lay bet is correct.
It is correct. It's not wrong.
No.
But saying no 4 is not wrong either.
No, because that's a very common vernacular. Maybe the actual term is lay bet, but the vernacular is no 4, no 10.
Right. So I think this dealer just was kind of trying to one up him because he'd made a mistake or, hadn't heard him or whatever.
Right.
Now, as far as the $40 minimum goes, I originally wrote back to Jordan. I said, no. It's not a $40 minimum. It's going to be a $20 minimum because if you make a $20 no 4, the win is $10, which is the table minimum.
Right.
Now, it's not a good bet because you're paying $1 VIG on $10.
The VIG is way too high.
It's 10% VIG, so it's not a good bet. You really should be betting at least $40 to take advantage of how much you're having to pay on that VIG.
Right,
with
to get
the
it down
$1.
to 5%.
Right. So that's what I originally wrote, and then I thought, I wonder. So I went onto the Wizard of Vegas forum and kind of posed the question. Has anybody heard this? What would the minimum be? There were several people who said, there are at some casinos and maybe all, I don't know. In this case, when a dollar chip is the lowest denomination chip that they have. They don't have 25-cent chips or things like that. A $40 lay against the 4 is the minimum.
Okay. So I can understand that.
Yeah. It's to the customer's benefit really, to make it that way.
Right. So this is the case where a casino wants to do what's right for the customer?
I guess you could say that. Yeah, maybe. Right.
Sir, we're just trying to help you out. We're trying to lower that VIG on you.
Right. So there's no problem saying no 4. Yeah, you might want to make it real clear. This is a no 4. And that might be why the dealer got confused too. He's thinking, well, it had to have been $40 for it to be a no 4, so it must have been a buy bet, right? And wasn't really paying attention.
Yeah, which $20 would be a good buy bet.
So you can definitely say no 4. As to what the minimum is for a lay bet against the 4 or 10, maybe it is $40, regardless of the table minimum, right?
Yeah, you probably should just ask ahead of time, I suppose. Yeah. But then from now on, when I make my lay bets, which happens, never?
Sometimes on the hedge against the fire. That I think is the last time I've ever seen you do it.
Yeah, I don't do that very often. But next time I do, I'm going to make it real specific and say I want to lay the 4. That means no 4. That means I want 7 to come up right now.
Right.
I'm going to say that real loud.
Real loud so the whole table can hear it. Yeah,
right.
Good. Right. Well, while we're on the topic of playing the don't, we saw when we were playing at Harrah's a few weeks ago, we saw a guy who was betting the don't, which is fine. I've said it before. I do it all the time.
Oh, you do it all the time, yeah.
But basically all he was doing was betting the don't pass. He wasn't betting don't come, which, is fine. It's kind of a slow way to play. But all he was doing was don't pass. Mm-hmm. Well, when the dice got around to him, he decided to roll from the don't. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. You're certainly allowed to do it. I don't know why anybody would want to, though, because this guy had a hot roll.
Yeah, he killed himself. I mean, he really killed himself.
Yeah, he really did.
And he was only taking one bet.
And he still killed himself.
Yeah, had he been taking more don't come bets, oh my God, he could have lost tons.
Oh, yeah.
He had a really good roll.
So, we're all cheering, and it's like, I kind of feel bad for the guy, because here we're all cheering, and he's the only one losing at the table, right? All the rest of us are.
The sad part is, I think he lost about not quite half of his total buy-in on his roll. Yeah. And then I got the dice next. I was standing next to him, and I proceeded to have a monster roll, which completely wiped him out at that point. Because he's just point after point.
So, unless you've really got a thick skin, you're willing to go through this. I would say if you're betting the don't, just pass the dice, which is what I always do.
Right. Or switch to the pass line. You see a lot of people do that.
Some people do that.
And I have no problem with that either. Sure. Some people say, oh, that jerk, he thinks only he can roll good. And that's probably not the case. He probably just wants to, if I do have a good roll, I want to be there with everyone else.
Yes, right, exactly. Because I'm the one actually picking him up the dice.
Right. And so if you're not going to do that, just pass them.
Yeah, right. Along these same lines, it wasn't the same guy, but there was another don't player that we were playing with recently, and he made the stupidest don't play we've ever seen. We've talked about how don't players will sometimes say no action when the point is 6 or 8, which is stupid because you've actually got an edge, on an even money bet, you've got an edge. We saw this guy actually say no action on a 10.
Yeah.
And the reason he'd done it is because a couple of 10s had come up. Right. And he was like, scared, right?
Well, he was counting the dice.
Oh my gosh. No action on a 10. Now, to his credit, 10 did come up again.
Yeah, right.
He would have lost.
He would have lost. But he's probably thinking, I'm a genius. I am a genius.
You got a 2-to-1 chance of winning, and you're going to get paid even money if it goes up on a 10. He said no action.
No action.
So that's the stupidest thing I've ever seen a don't player do.
Well, he wasn't very bright, and he lost his money pretty quick,
He
too.
did. Yeah. One more thing about craps, too. We've talked in the past how we're really not superstitious, even though we'll go through some seemingly superstitious routines, at the table.
Right.
And neither one of us ever calls for same dice. It's like, what's the point?
I wanted the game to move. Give me another one.
Just give me the dice and we'll do it. Well, I've actually changed my philosophy on this. Not because I think really, asking for the same dice is the smart thing to do, but for table harmony. Yeah. I've realized, hey, we're all in this together, and there probably are some players there who really think it's important that you get the same dice. And I could never understand this. I had an Uncle Frank. He's one of the smartest guys I ever met. He worked like on the Apollo rockets, right? This guy was smart. He knew math. And one time he said to me, "Yeah, Mark, the thing I hate the most is when you're on a craps table and the dice go off the table and the shooter doesn't say same dice." And I'm thinking, I didn't say anything to him. He's getting on in years, but I'm thinking, Frank, it doesn't matter. So just for table harmony now, I've started to say same dice. Because then if I immediately 7 out, people are like, well, he did what he could. He asked for same dice.
He did the best.
You can't fault the guy.
I'll tell you what, though, if you're going to go through your life without philosophy, that you're going to do something that doesn't really make sense to you, but you want to keep table harmony, you want to keep everyone happy.
Yeah.
Then every once in a while, you should drive 25 miles an hour down the freeway. Because there are people who think that it's safer to go 25 on the freeway in the slow lane so that, they won't, get in an accident.
Yeah. Well,
so in order to keep them happy, you should every once in a while do that.
I'll take that under advisement. Right. Maybe every once in a while I will do that.
Just go 25.
I'll do that. You know what I'll do that? I'll do it when I'm driving home from your house at 3 a.m. Okay. When the drivers will really appreciate that.
Right. They'll really appreciate
That's probably the safest time to do it.
And then roll your window down as they pass you and just give them the one finger salute.
No, I'll be, you're welcome. I'll just wave. You're welcome. Yeah. Have a nice evening. You're welcome. All right. Let's move on to our voicemail hotline. Remember, give us a call at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
And we'll probably play your call on the show. Let's hear from Ryan.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Ryan giving you a call to say what's up. Your last show had me thinking back of a time with the dealers at Margaritaville, man. I'm playing craps. And for some reason, I hit the hard 8, and he puts my money back on the hard 8 and says parlay. And it's not like I had been playing that, and it's like, I wanted to bring it down, and it was kind of hard to communicate. And then I was almost like, well, shoot, if I take it down, it's going to feel even worse, So anyway, I leave it up there. But that's not the point. It's, the fact that the dealer, putting your money somewhere or suggesting something like that. And unless it's, something more simple, not telling someone, hey, pick red or black. But, pressing someone's parlay, someone's hard bet like that, they shouldn't be suggesting something like that. So, yeah, hopefully dealers aren't doing that out there.
Yeah, this isn't as bad as the dealer, actually hustling for tips or making a tip based on your money. But it is something you have to watch out for.
Well, especially if you don't parlay.
Yes, if that's not your
thing, if you haven't been doing that all night. Sometimes if you do that repeatedly, they just automatically do it.
Right.
Although I want to say this, one thing I like about Harrah's Rincon, the craps dealers at Harrah's Southern California, I play the same way all the time.
Yes.
They know every hard way bet, first time it hits, I parlay.
Mm-hmm.
They always just automatically parlay it for me.
Yeah.
But they almost always look at me and say, parlay, right, Mike?
Yeah, it's not like they do it and they don't say anything.
No, they always check.
Yeah.
And even though they know I'm always going to say, parlay, they always ask.
Yeah.
And I like that because, you need to do that.
Sure.
For the biggest reason is it clears up any problems.
Right.
If it all of a sudden it's a 7, I say, wait a minute, I didn't want to parlay that.
Yeah,
right. They have to check.
Yeah.
So, and they always should.
Yeah. It sounds like Ryan may have had some trouble communicating with the dealer in this case, but yeah. And dealers, they're going to hustle for bets right? Maybe not tips, but who wants a hard way? Who wants this? Or, you want to press that kind of thing. So they will kind of hustle for that. But yeah, you got to be able to just say no, right? Yeah. I mean, there are times when, they've even tried to make me feel bad because I've said, like, bring my bet down.
Right.
Right. It's like, so they shouldn't be doing that, right?
Right. But they do. I mean, it is part of their job. Yeah. Some of that's friendly goofing with you.
Sometimes, sure. Yeah.
One other thing I just want to mention, with a possible advantage play, a real easy one. With the big Manny and Floyd fight coming up, it's not hard to find someone to bet you some money on this. The fight, when it was first announced, we had Manny at plus 285. I think he's at plus 175 now. The point is, you work at a hospital, you work at you just know a lot of people. It's not hard to find someone to bet you money on this fight. And, everyone's just betting money straight up, even odds. Anyway, I know this goes for the recreational gambler, and I don't know if people are going through all that trouble to do that. But, just something I want to throw out there. I got my money on Manny. Take it easy, guys.
Yeah, so if you've got a friend who's willing to bet, and he's going to take Pacquiao, who's the underdog, right? And you say, well, I'll take Mayweather, just an even money bet. That's a great bet for you.
That's a good bet, yeah.
Yeah. And, it's interesting, too. Ryan said that he heard Pacquiao open at plus 285. I couldn't find anything that high. I was going back trying to find out what it opened at. The highest I could find was 235. But in either case, it was, at least if you got a bet in there on Pacquiao early, a good opportunity for what they call an arbitrage in sports betting. Or, an arbitrage is usually when you pit like two bookies against each other, but this is kind of a similar situation where the opening odds, were.
It changes so much.
It changes so drastically. Yeah. Because, now I see, Mayweather at minus 210 and Pacquiao at plus 170. So if you could have made a bet on Pacquiao at plus 285. Right. And now you can make a bet on Mayweather at minus 210.
You're going to win money.
You're going to win money no matter what. Yeah. Even if, like I said, if it was at 235, plus 235.
Right. You're still going to win.
And now Mayweather is actually below that at minus 210. Yeah. You could still make money. But, I should go around and try to find some people maybe to take Pacquiao.
Yeah.
For even money.
Well, I'm surprised that this fight is that lopsided, actually. I thought it was going to be very, very close. I still think it's going to be close, and Pacquiao might win.
Well, I mean, you can see Pacquiao. That's why the odds have come down so much, is because everybody's betting on Pacquiao, right? And it's coming down like this.
Well, the guy's a great fighter.
Well, this is the biggest fight to come along in how long? I mean, this is huge, right?
Yeah, this is huge. You'd have to go back quite a few years to get as big a fight.
Yeah.
And to get a bigger heavyweight fight, I think you got to go back to Ali.
Maybe.
I mean, really, maybe some of the Mike Tyson fights. But, there hasn't been this much excitement about a fight. Now, when is the fight?
May 2nd. So May coming 2nd. Up, quick here. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
That's a Saturday.
Yep. And they're saying, the pay-per-view might be like $100.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, people will pay that. I mean, I would.
Yeah. And right now, MGM, they're saying they're not going to allow any casinos outside of their chain to show the fight.
Wow, really?
That's what they're saying, yeah.
Really?
We'll see if that changes as we get closer, so.
They can't even buy it?
No, right? Because a lot of casinos, even if they're not associated with the casino that's having the fight, they'll invite high rollers in and, show it on a big screen and have a big party for them. But as of right now, MGM's saying no.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well.
Okay, let's hear from Victor.
Hey there, Mark, Dr. Mike, and fellow listeners. This is Victor. I'm in Las Vegas right now and wanted to call in with some information about the promotion through MGM Resorts that Todd had called in about. I'm at Mandalay Bay, and I want to check that out about the $20 for $30 in chip deal. Yeah, it's still there. It's $30 worth of chips, promotional chips, that you get to keep when they win, and you just keep playing them like regular chips. They give you a heart card, like a brochure. It comes with 3 plastic cards in it. One of them is for blackjack, one is for craps, and one is for roulette. The craps card shows the payouts for place bets and odds bets. The blackjack card is basically a basic strategy card, but, using a little wheel. They all use like a little wheel. It's hard to say if it's, how accurate it is. The roulette card shows you the payouts depending how many chips you placed, either on a number or if you split your bets or if you play a corner and split it between the 4 numbers. They do require you to show your M-Life card, you're allowed to do this once every 6 months is what I was told. But it looks like a good deal to use for the bet. So other than that, craps here has been good, although they pull up the lower limit probably around 4 o'clock to $15. So not really what I'm looking for, $10 during the day. So I played some here, wandered off, find some of the sister properties next door like over Luxor and even Excalibur tend to have lower limits. Although I've done okay when I have played here. There was one woman who made the all-tall bet for $5 and hit all the numbers, won $880. So that was fun to see. Other than that, checking out the blackjack, all of their tables under $25, paying 6 to 5, 3 to 2 tables are all $25 limit with a 6-deck shoe. They did have a 2-deck shoe, but there's no surrender at those tables. It's also a $25 limit game. Video poker here, pretty much 7 to 5 pay tables on all the jacks or better, with the exception of one machine that I found, paying 8 to 5. Even in the high limit room, the $100 credit machine pays 9 to 5, so no full pay machines. And that's about it. I'm having a good time. All right, keep it up.
Good. Yeah, Victor sent some email here too, showing with some pictures of the literature that comes with this and the little wheels and everything. It's a company called Win Cards, and I went to their website. They're also available at not just Mandalay Bay, but also Four Queens, Circus, and Tropicana. Now, I don't know if those locations also give you free play chips or not. It was unclear, at least from the website. But they do have these little win card things. Yeah. Okay. The nice thing about Mandalay Bay, Victor also sent a picture of this. Along with the free play, they give you a little tip coupon. It's like a coupon for $1 tip for the dealers that you can just put out there on the table. And that's a tip for them. Now, that kind of hustling for tips, I don't mind so much. It's more
they're
like
giving you money.
Yeah, they're giving you money, and it's like, this is an option for you. If you want to, you can.
This is a good thing for Mandalay Bay because they're giving you money to tip their dealers. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. Which is good for the dealers because they may win a tip. They may win a bet. Yeah. But also, it encourages people to tip.
Yes.
Right? Because, thank you very much. And they kind of like that feeling and maybe they'll do so on their own. Yeah. So that's great how they treat their employees.
Yeah, I think so too.
Kudos to them.
Hear.
That's good.
Yep. All right. One more call. Let's hear from Derek.
Hey guys, it's Derek out here in Utah again. Just give me a call. I do have a follow-up about the card in the high limit room from my last call, but I got a question for you first. So I'll just ask the question, then call back and give you my story here in a week or so, whatever. My question is, me and the family are taking a trip down to your neck of the woods, down to San Diego, and we're going to tiptoe over into Tijuana for a day. Doing some research on Tijuana, I see a lot of casino type things in Tijuana, and that sounds like kind of an awful combination there. You got a Tijuana casino, like a scam, or myself getting stabbed and left in a bucket of ice, or whatever, all those horror stories you hear about, but where you guys are from down that way, I was wondering, what are the Tijuana casinos like? Are they legitimate? And would you recommend going to them if I'm just going to be over for, like a day on our way from San Diego? I can't talk to you. Whole family probably going up to Harrah where you guys are playing and all that, but your perspective from that, and also with I think it's 15-to-1 ratio. I feel like Dr. Mike out there on some of the tables if it ends up being a good thing, throwing some money around. So, thanks, guys. Love the show, and we'll talk to you later.
Yeah, we haven't been to Tijuana for some time.
It's been quite a few years.
Yeah, we used to go down there for the dog races.
You know what we should do on one episode when we have plenty of time? Yeah. We should tell some Tijuana stories about dog racing.
Yeah, that's true.
There.
We should.
We should have done that on the bonus when we had the bonus audio.
That's true.
But we have some great stories about gambling in Tijuana on horses and dogs.
Oh, you went for horse racing?
I went for horse a few times.
Oh, really? I don't think they have horse racing down there at all
anymore.
No,
not anymore.
Yeah,
no,
and
they haven't had in years.
I don't think they have Highlight anymore either.
Really? They got rid of Highlight?
Yeah,
we went to Highlight a few times,
did go to Highlight,
too.
Yeah.
Gambling on that was kind of weird, too.
Well, you never, is it fixed, right? These
that
guys
probably is fixed, okay?
Yeah, so we haven't been down there in a while. The only casino that we know of is the Caliente Casino. And I haven't actually been into the casino proper. We've been down there for the dog races, but as far as I know, there are no table games. Yeah. It's just machines. I imagine it's legitimate.
It's probably legitimate. My advice would be very, very, very careful.
Yeah.
Walking out of a casino in Tijuana with any kind of money in your pocket would be very, very risky. And I'm not saying that disparagingly for Tijuana.
No, if you stick with the kind of the touristy places in Tijuana, you're probably going to be okay. Sure.
But you want to be careful where you go.
Yeah. I would say if you really want to go to a casino while you're here, just go to one of the local San Diego
there's so many
casinos.
in San Diego that are fine.
There are ones that are closer than Harrah's. We kind of drive out of our way, but there are ones that are actually fairly close to downtown San Diego. The only reason you might want to go to the Tijuana casino is number one, for the dog racing, or number two, sports betting.
Yeah,
they do have sports betting.
Right, right.
Which they don't have here. So
I would suggest this. Take your family down to the Revolution, shop.
Right.
Do all
the
your
shopping area down there. Yeah.
Park on this side of the border.
Yeah.
Cross the border, either walk or take a cab, do your shopping, come back, go to the casino at night here.
Yeah. That's what I would recommend too. Yeah.
That's probably your safest thing to do.
Yeah.
And you'll probably have more fun.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Vegas Internet Mafia Family Picnic. We've talked about this before. We call it VIMFP. It's VIMFP. And I've never really been able, it's the way it's spelled. You should pronounce it VIMFP, right?
I guess.
Yeah, it's VIMFP. It's kind of like Brett Favre, right? It's like
Favre.
Yeah, it's not Favre. It's not spelled Favre. It's Favre or Favre, right? Which is the way that it should be pronounced.
Right.
Even his family pronounces it that way.
My wife pronounces it that way.
Yeah, I think it's comedian Jay Moore calls him Bert Favre, just to kind of emphasize the fact, hey, if you're going to mispronounce your last name, mispronounce
the whole name.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so VIMFP is coming up again this October. And for those who don't know, it's an annual event that is organized by Chuck Monster over at VegasTripping.com and Hunter Hilligus, who created the VegasMate app over at RateVegas.com. And they get together every year and they record their podcast, Vegas Gang, along with the 5 Honey by Midnight. Tim and Michelle, they come in and record their podcast, both podcasts recorded in front of a live audience.
Yeah.
And that has been the event for the last few years. That's always the main event. And as time has gone on, the event has kind of grown to be, a whole weekend full of multiple events.
Right.
Like, for example, the last few years, they've had a Sigma Derby competition, that's fun. A couple of years ago, they had the World Series of Satin Casino Jackets competition, which apparently is coming back again this year, right? Okay. Last year, people who came to the main event got free tickets to the Sammy Hagar concert, right?
We just saw him eating.
Yeah, well, we saw him walk by and go into the coffee shop over at Four Queens. That was exciting for us. Yeah.
We were happy with that.
So it's become a huge event. Well, this is very exciting for us. They have asked us to participate in VIMFP this year. On Sunday afternoon, there's a new event that is going to feature us doing our show live in front of a live audience.
That ought to be a joy for a lot of people.
I think they'll enjoy it. Are you going to ruin it for us?
No.
Because it's going to be Sunday afternoon.
I'm going to wear all my clothes.
It's a new event on Sunday, and the folks over at the Denton, Dallas, and Beyond podcast, they're going to be participating in it too.
All right.
And so we are very excited about this.
Yes.
So make your plans for VIMFP. It's going to be October 16th through the 18th. That Sunday is the 18th. So make sure you stay through that whole Sunday.
Right.
Because it's going to be Sunday afternoon.
Well, we'll have to stay if we're going to actually get.
Yeah, we're going to have to go. The earliest we can go back is the next day. And the next day is my birthday.
Yeah, we could go
Monday.
Back that night.
No, because the next day is my birthday.
Oh, you want to be there for your birthday?
I want to be there for my birthday. Remember last year on my birthday, I rolled the fire bet.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, we do. I don't want anything we do to conflict with your being able to roll a fire bet.
Okay, so there you go.
That's my only caveat to the whole thing.
That's right? The other great thing about VIMFP. It's always on my birthday weekend. So, it's very exciting. So anyway, make your plans. We're going to be there. We're going to officially be a part of it. We're very excited. We don't have the location yet, but they're going to be announcing the location this coming Wednesday, April 22nd. So the best way is just get on Twitter and check at VIMFP. Again, it's VIMFP. And they're going to be announcing the location on this Wednesday.
Very good.
So, yeah.
Good. Well, then we'll get there Friday, and that'll give me Friday, Saturday, and maybe a few hours Sunday morning to see some nude person.
It's going to be
to report.
That's right. You need to report on that Sunday how much nudity you saw.
I've seen. Yeah.
So we'll talk about the specifics.
This can't be paid for nudity. This has to be.
Oh yeah, we just went down to Glitter Gulch. It was there's tons of nudity.
No, this has to be free nudity.
Free nudity, right? Okay.
Welcomed or not welcomed.
That's right. So now you're thinking we get there maybe on Friday. So we're there
because
if we go Thursday, that might be a little too long for you. Might be burned out.
Well, for two reasons. Number one, it'd be hard to be away from my family that long.
Sure.
Most importantly, but also number two, we'd be broke by Sunday morning.
Too. What if we go like Friday morning so we can maybe have a craps meetup like we did last time?
Yeah, we could go Friday morning.
All right, we'll talk about this later. All right, but anyway, very exciting. Okay, that's going to do it for this episode. Be sure to check out our TV listings showing all the gambling-related shows coming up within the next 2 weeks. I update those listings every Wednesday using a program I wrote myself to search through all the raw American TV data. Mike, you should see this data. It's raw.
It's raw.
I mean, it is raw. Just go to our webpage, youcanbetonThat.com, and click on the link at the top that says TV listings. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 951-2-WAGERS. Or you can email us at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com. Also, follow us on Twitter at YouCanBetOnThat. We always tweet when we're in a casino or on our way to a casino, and we'd love to meet up with you. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/YouCanBetOnThat. And finally, head on over to iTunes and write a review on us. When you do, it helps us get new listeners. Go.
Well, I just wanted to say that when Derek comes out to San Diego with his family, I hope he comes and sees us on a Friday night or Saturday or whatever at Harrah's. Yeah. Like to buy him, I don't know, a strawberry daiquiri.
There you go.
They have good strawberry daiquiris.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Or just a shot of tequila and forget all the other stuff.
That'll be one of my dog race stories. Yeah, the shot of tequila I got down there once. Yeah.
Because here in San Diego, you can actually get it with the worm.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Move on.
And secondly, I'd like to say I really am excited about going.
Oh my gosh! This is great. This is gonna. Thank you so much to those guys for including us. Yeah, very exciting. Great. Yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully, we won't offend too many people.
I don't think so. It's speak. Maybe. Speak for yourself. Yeah,
I might.
Yeah. All right.
I guess that's all I got.
Okay. Very good. Thanks for listening.
Good night.